Welcome, Christmas week. How about that, huh? I should say holidays week, because not everybody celebrates Christmas, but there are a lot of holidays going on. Not everybody's celebrating those holidays, but happy week to everybody. Let's just be, whatever, politically correct. Let's just all be happy, merry. And the big part of it all is that we're moving into the new year, and we need to prepare for 2022. We do not want to repeat the same failure loop, as I call it, that we've been stuck in for years and years, including 2021. We want to instead look at our mistakes, look at our failures, instead of dwelling on them and getting down on ourselves as the fixed victim in us might try to do. We go, all right, what the heck did I learn this year? A great little thing that you can do that won't take too long is just take a sheet of paper or use the notes in your phone app in your phone and just make a list of your top 5 successes for the year and your top 5 failures. And this will just help kind of shine a spotlight on exactly what worked well that you want to continue to build momentum on and do more of, and what didn't work, what you need to pivot on, what lessons you learned. Because otherwise, again, you're just doing this the wrong way, but you want to do this. You want to gain some momentum this year. Happy New Year, Praveen. In the meantime, so 2022 is coming. So I just kind of started briefly talking about it. I mean, let's everybody do themselves a favor here and really actually take some steps to make sure that this year doesn't repeat. If you didn't feel like you progressed the way that you wanted to, if you felt like you were just treading water and you worked really, really hard and don't have a lot to show for it, don't worry, you're not alone. That's very, very common. However, it's the one percenters that are going to do something about it and figure out a system to say, okay, this is who I am. This is where I want to end up. Here's the steps I'm going to take. Here's the goals that I'm going to make. And here's the habits that I'm going to develop to help me get there, which is everything I do to help people. And remember, it's not just about money, people. I know it can seem that way, and the world is more and more every day obsessed with just money and status and fame and whatnot. Although it's important to have enough money to be able to live your life and not constantly be stressing about it. And it's okay to have goals to say, okay, well, I want to hit this level. But if that's all it's about, if you're not paying attention to those 5 cores in your rocket behind me, your relationships, your mindset, your physical health, your emotional health, and giving back, you, my friends, are never going to be happy, no matter how much money you make. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. I've been there. I've made the money. It does feel great to make a big chunk of money and to hit a goal, but then your baseline resets and you're like, okay, now what? What's the next level? And if you're just constantly chasing and you don't have these other areas of your life structured out and goals within them, you ain't gonna be happy. Okay, here we go. How do you set your goals? Good question. Let's talk about that, shall we? Setting your goals, it needs to be done in paper. You can't do it in your head. Reason being, there's just, now more than ever, we're living in this Insta world with more and more distractions and stuff coming at us. And, you've got, it's not even, it used to be, radio came out and it was like, wow, we can all sit around the radio and listen for an hour. Then it was TV. And then it was the iPhone, and then tablets, and then streaming, and now multiple streams, and Netflix, and Amazon. And now people look at their phone, and they've got their computer open, and they've got the TV on. Our attention span is dropping rapidly, and you need to be aware of that. It's not just you. ADD is super common. I have ADD. I feel like everybody has it to a certain extent. Some people more extreme than others. But you got to write stuff down. You have to have a plan that you review regularly. And so the way I like to do it is I like to start with what I call my back to the future list, where I go into each of my 5 cores, my mindset, and if you don't know what they are, go to the website, momentum.com. You can there's a little baseline quiz that you can take, core evaluator quiz, to see where you kind of currently stand in the 5 areas and your happiness. And then there's a tab, the 5 cores, kind of learn a little bit more about the 5 cores so you understand them. and just make a list of where you want to end up in all these. And that'll kind of really help you to super focus and understand what your values are, what you in particular as a person really care about at the core, and where you want to end up. Then you go backwards from that, and you can literally start building out a plan, right? So it's like, if at the end of your life you want people to say this about you at your funeral, then and that he or she was in great physical health until the day they died. They constantly kept moving, both their brain and their mind. They didn't stop growing, and they were constantly, looking for ways to help other people, whatever, all these different areas of your life. Then you say, okay, what are the habits? What are the actual things I need to do to start setting these into my life? And then I like to do like a 1 year plan. And then I go to like a 3 month, and then a 1 month. And then literally like, okay, this week, what are my goals for this week, right? That way it's kind of granulated to where you're just focusing on what's in front of you, and it doesn't seem so overwhelming, but you have that big picture that you can refer back to. And I like to do it at least once a week. At first I do it even more than that, but at least every Monday is what I like to do, is pull up my ultimate goals and say, okay, yep, reminder, this is where I am. Okay, how did I do this past week? Yes, I did well. I was moving to it, but I kind of got a little off track. This isn't really helping with my ultimate goal. Why did I spend 5 hours on this project? It really just helps to focus you and to put your action into the right places first. As I said at the beginning of this podcast, just spinning your wheels and going round and round, and having yet another year where you feel like you worked really hard, but you didn't make any progress. Let's see, I'm just looking at some previous comments. Kermaz said a diary perhaps. So what I use every day, I actually do a daily review of how I did in each of my 5 cores. And I do have a system for that that I can help you guys with. Just DM me or go to my website. Actually, it's probably the best. And you can take that quiz that I mentioned, that Core Life Evaluator quiz, to see where you stand in each of your cores. And then just feel free to message me and just say I want a copy of of what you use, because this is what I'm turning into an app. But the gist is, it's a little accountability chart that I use every day. It's an Excel sheet, and each day I grade myself on a scale of 1 to 5 on how I did in each of my cores, right? And I've got my top habits that I'm working on in each of them. I essentially just look at each and I say, did I, didn't I? And then at the end of each one, I actually have a little notes section. What was the biggest win for the day, and what was the biggest loss? And what I'll end up actually doing is, really it forces me to think about the previous day and like, okay, did I do the same thing over and over? Did I make the same mistake I've been making, or did I learn from it? Did I have a big win? And then that way it sort of forces you, it's an accountability buddy is really what it is. And again, when I have the app, it's going to be super exciting because it's going to all be gamified, and it's going to be fun and addictive, and you're a spaceship and you're flying to different planets and galaxies and meeting aliens along the way and fighting through asteroid fields. And it's going to make it fun to want to hold yourself accountable. But this isn't super sexy, but it's at least a way that you can sort of make sure that you're moving in the right direction every single day. So again, if you are interested in it, go ahead and you can DM me and I'll send you a copy to get you going. Or you can, and I recommend, go to my website, More Momentum, MOORE, momentum.com. Take the quiz. The website, by the way, is being redone, so do not judge me on it. It's pretty archaic right now. It's taken longer than we thought, but the new website's going to be awesome. It's going to look like a video game, like you're actually in a game, and very interactive, and the quiz is going to be updated and stuff. But for now, it'll do its job. It'll help you see where you currently stand. Okay, here we go. Soberly drunk. How do you control overthinking? You don't. Okay, so here's the short and long of it. There's this old adage that right now, try not to think of a pink elephant, okay? Do your best right now, concentrate. Don't think of a pink elephant. What did every single person, I guarantee you, that's either watching this or listening to it after the fact, you thought of a pink elephant, okay? And the whole thing is, if you proactively try to stop something, you're actually putting that into your mind and you are creating more of it. And it's just creating more jargon and confusion and anxiety in your brain. So what you instead want to do, I have this system that I developed. It's called CBRP. Okay. So you want to catch the thought. Like, let's say you just lost some money in the stock market and you're super stressed about it. What good is dwelling on it going to do? And what good is continuing to look at the stocks, hoping that they're going to go up minute to minute? That's going to do you zero good. And you're not putting your actions into an actual plan and doing something that's actually going to progress you towards your goals and where you want to go in life, like we were talking about earlier. So what do you do instead? You catch that. You don't try to stop it. Because again, if you try to stop it, it doesn't work. Because it'll stop for a second, but then you'll go right back to it. You catch it, okay? Second thing you do, the B, is breathe. This is an important step. Don't skip it. You breathe. I like to do three deep breaths, and that just sort of helps you to reset and to get that 10K view of, okay, and then you combine that with the next step, which is remind yourself. That's the R. So it's CBR. R is remind, reflect, and you're reminding yourself of what you do have going for you, what you are grateful for, what's super important in your life, and the things that you know that it's only a matter of time until you get to. You remind yourself of where you're headed and that you have everything within you to do so. And also that the thing you're dwelling about won't matter in a week, let alone a year, 5 years. It won't even matter. And so you're spending all this time dwelling and wasting your time on something that's actually not going to make any difference to your overall happiness in terms of, but what is going to make you happy? This is the last part of it. Pivot. You're going to pivot. So C, catch, B, breathe, R, remind, reflect, P, pivot. Pivot to what will make you happy. What are the actions that you can take right now based on those goals we were talking about earlier that you can get going on and focus on that. So you're actually redirecting. You're not stopping the thought, you're redirecting. You're pivoting it into something, a bad one that's hurting you, into a good one that's going to make you feel motivated and be like, yeah, let's go. Okay. And it's not easy. Like, you're going to start doing it and it's going to feel kind of strange, but I promise you, I promise, the more that you do it and the more you practice CBRP, the more you will find that those dwelling and those bad negative thoughts start to dissipate a little, because you've already reminded yourself so many times on what you do have grateful for you, and reflecting on what you want to do, and then pivoting into your goals and your actions. And that kind of becomes more of the default setting, and you'll start to see, which has happened with me, which is really neat, is that as soon as that negative thought starts to come, you don't have to work as hard to pivot away from it. Your brain kind of automatically goes, oh, it's trying to do it again. Let's do our little routine and get on over to where we know we need to be and what does make us happy. And it's amazing. And you become much more efficient at it. You become faster at it. At first, you might have to take a while to breathe and to really reflect. But soon you get into auto mode, and it becomes a habit, just like anything else, a success habit. How to find where to redirect. I kind of just answer that if I understand what you're talking about, which is, redirecting, pivoting. So you're redirecting instead of trying to stop that thought that you're having that's making you feel sad or depressed or anxious or whatever it is, or dwelling on it. You're redirecting, you're pivoting it, you're catching it, and you're reflecting on, okay, why this isn't that big of a deal, why it doesn't make sense to dwell on it, and in the greater scheme of things, it's not going to have any difference on my happiness. And then you're redirecting and you're pivoting. Let me know if that makes sense. I'm actually way behind this month and trying to finish strong myself to get my goals and kick ass and take names in 2022. So let's keep this one short. Bad network, no worries, man. Like I said, you can feel free to DM me. But let's go ahead, and everybody, I really hope you listen to the advice that I just gave, because those are like my top things that I think will really help you to take 2022 and make it an awesome year. Just to reflect, it's setting goals, and it's creating that back to the future / funeral list. on, what is it that's super important that you want to set those goals on. So that's actually the first step. Then it's set goals. And then when you have, and then you're going to have that little list that you keep every day and you're holding yourself accountable on. And again, I told you can DM me or go to More Momentum, take the quiz to see where you currently stand in your happiness. And I will, MOORE, momentum.com, and I'll send you it. And then you're going to take action every day. And when you start to dwell, you start to get sidetracked, you're going to CBRP. You're going to catch, breathe, remind and reflect remind yourself of what you're grateful for, reflect on, is this really that big of a deal, and what's truly important. And then you're going to pivot onto the things that will make you happy and put your attention and your action into those. All right. All right, guys, thanks so much for joining. This was a short one, but sweet. I think we got some good nuggets in there. We don't need to go on and on. And everybody have an awesome new year, and I will talk to you soon. Feel free to DM me. All right, see ya.
That's it for the 5 Core Life. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like button on this video and pound that subscribe button so you get notified when new episodes drop. Also, please fill out the free 5 Core Life Evaluator quiz. It's a great way to get a baseline of where you are in the 5 cores and which of the 5 cores you need support. In addition, you'll get some actionable advice that you can apply and start improving your life in the areas that you need it most. That's it for today's episode of the 5 Core Life Podcast. Have a wonderful day.
Get moving. Gain momentum. Join the movement. Join Emmett by going to moremomentum.com to take a free life evaluator quiz on where you currently stand in each of your 5 cores.